Taurus, welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot. My name's Carol, and I'm going to give you a general reading for the first half of February 2024. Now, in today's reading, I'm going to use the Light Seer's Tarot deck right here. And I'm also going to be using the Rider-Waite Tarot deck. And I'm also going to be drawing an oracle card for you at the end. And I'm going to draw that from the Sacred Creators Oracle deck. So let's get started. In the first part of your reading, I'm going to look at what situation you're in, what energy you're in, maybe a pattern that's showing up for you right now in your life. And once we've established that, I'm going to look into your shadow. Now, this channel is about shadow work. Your shadow is that unconscious part of you that's hidden from you. And it's the part that we really sort of are scared to look at. It's in our unconscious. And there's a lot of emotions that are hidden in our unconscious, a lot of memories, a lot of our belief systems, a lot of our conditionings and our patternings, and it explains a lot as to why we're sitting in certain situations or patterns or repeating those patterns in our lives. Now, if you are new to shadow work or if you want some more information, I've created this video for you right here called My Powerful 4-Step Guide for Shadow Work. And that video will help you it gives you some really important steps that you need to take when you begin your shadow work journey. And it also is going to give you a lot of videos and information in there for you to really give you a boost on your journey. In the third part, I'm going to ask the tarot for some guidance as to how you can go about healing that part of your shadow that's coming up in order to heal that pattern or situation that you're in right now. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to suggest a video for you to watch to help you with that. And that's going to be taken from my other channel called Carol Cares. And so I think that's really going to help you. Now, to get started, what I've done is I've pulled from my 2024 reading that I did for you in January. And in that reading, I pulled 12 cards to represent 12 months of the year. And for February, you have the Knight of Pentacles. And so that's sort of the overriding energy that I'm going to be looking at during my two readings for you in February. The Knight of Pentacles. And my knights in my deck are what I call my freedom fighters. They're the ones that are fighting for freedom. And, I think in our own healing journey, our own journey in life, it seems to be a really common theme that we have this urge to be free. And I think it's more like a freedom just to be ourselves, right? And so when a knight comes up in a reading for me, it's a call for us to look at our life and say, where do I need freedom in my life? Where can I free up my life in certain areas to give me that feeling of being myself and being free to be myself? And in February, that came up for you in reverse. So there is definitely a part of you that wants to be free. And because it's the pentacles part of us, and that's the part where the pentacles is all about our body. It could be our health, our workplace. And so this is coming up for you right now in February, where I think you're being asked to look at your work area in your life, where you commit a lot of your time to. It could be your health. I mean, a lot of us sometimes get into these rigorous health routines, whether it's our eating, whether it's our physical activity, or our workplace, where we commit too much of ourselves, actually. Too many hours, we give too much of ourselves in our workplace. And this is upside down. This is in reverse. So this tells me that, you are feeling a great deal of sort of hopelessness around this situation, and maybe a lot of anger's coming out here where you're just hating your job, you're hating your life that has to do with your health or your workplace. And so you're wanting some freedom in that area. So we're going to keep that in mind during this reading as we go through this first part of February for you. So let's take this deck, this Light Seers Tarot deck, and I'm going to draw 3 cards for you. So I'm going to ask the Tarot, first of all, for a card to give us sort of an overall energy of where you're sitting right now for the first 2 weeks in February. All right, so a card for the first 2 weeks of February, please. And I'm hoping that these are going to pop out or actually flip out for me. So a card for the first 2 weeks for the pattern that's showing up. The pattern that you're sitting in, the situation you're sitting in right now. 1 card, please. 1 card for that. There we go. All right, so you have the 2 of Swords in reverse. And 1 card to show what's sitting in your shadow that's related to the situation that's coming up for you right now to heal. So what is it in your shadow that's coming up for you to heal right now? I find these cards just a little bit too big for my hand. Oh, there it is. It came flying out. You have the 7 of Swords. You have the 7 of Swords. And what advice can the Tarot give us? What advice can the Tarot give us? And you have the 8 of Wands, the 8 of Wands in reverse here. Oops, I'm facing the wrong part of the camera here. The 8 of Wands in reverse. So I'm going to try to put this in a way where you can see this all on camera. All right, so I'm going to ask for some clarifications here. So let's have some clarification from the Tarot for my 2 of Swords here. Clarification for the 2 of Swords in reverse. Okay, so 2 of Swords in reverse, and let's ask, maybe we'll look for about 3 cards here. So you have the 10 of Cups. 10 of Cups, I'm going to put that right over here. There we go. Another card, please. 2 more cards. Oh, and they came flying out. We have the Queen of Wands. Just move this over a bit. Right here. And we have the 3 of Pentacles in reverse. All right, so what pattern? Some clarification, sorry, for the 7 of Swords for our shadow. Clarification for the 7 of Swords for our shadow. 3 cards, please, from the Tarot. 1 flipped out here. We have the 8 of Cups. The 8 of Cups. 2 more cards, please. 2 more cards from the Tarot. And that one came up. So we have the 4 of Pentacles. That one came up in reverse. 1 more card from the Tarot, please. 1 more card from the Tarot. That one almost, oh, there it is. All right. You have the 3 of Wands. The 3 of Wands. All right, clarifications for our 8 of Wands. Clarification for our 8 of Wands, please. Page of Cups in reverse. 2 more, please, and you have the 10 of Pentacles in reverse. 1 more card, please, for Taurus, and it just flipped out here. You have the Star. Beautiful card for you right here to end with. All right. Okay, I just want to check to see that these are all set up so you can see them on my camera. Oh, kind of a little bit stressed out here. I took the time to, I really want you to see these cards, so I'm trying a new camera here on the side, and I think I got it. I'm just going to bring these down a bit. All right, so I think it's important that you see the cards. I know I have a tendency to kind of lift them up and show them to you, but I like to see them myself laid out, and then yeah, and I think it's important for you to see them. So let's start off with, now remember that we're sort of dealing with that Knight of Pentacles in reverse, how we're feeling a bit hopeless, trying to get a freedom, maybe, you know, wanting some freedom in our workspace, in maybe our health situation. So let's see where we're going with this. So I want to look at where you're sitting. First part of February, you have the Two of Swords in reverse. And so I'm seeing here, whenever this card comes up, I think you can see it actually, I don't have to lift it up. So whenever this card comes up for me, the Two of Swords, the Two of Swords is this individual, and I think what's most important on this card is this blindfold that this person has. There is a decision to be made. So I'm thinking that you're sitting in a situation where you either have a choice or you have a decision to make. And you know, maybe it's in your workspace, maybe it's in your health. You know that you need to somehow free up your life a little bit. It's becoming maybe a bit too stressful. You know that you're committing too much of your energy in one place. And so you're looking at, well, where can I make this decision? Like, what can I cut out of my life? What can I do for myself to free some time up for myself? And this particular individual is, you know, in their head, and swords is all about your mental activity, your thought patterns, your conditionings, your belief systems. And so when we get all caught up in our head, we just tend to spin things, and it really, really gets difficult to figure anything out when you have your mind that's spinning. And especially when we have to make a decision for ourselves. I think one of the hardest things about my own healing journey was when it came to making decisions, I just couldn't. And I think because of my own trauma background, I had a tendency to, because I had people that controlled me in my life, they made my decisions for me. And so when it came time for me to make my own decisions, it was really, really difficult. And this was me spinning in my head. And you know, you have this blindfold on, and because it's in reverse, there is this huge resistance that I'm seeing in you to even see that you have to make a decision, or just this denial about having to do it. And a lot of us want this freedom, but they just don't want to make the decision, or they just don't know how, and they're just so blocked. And this is what this blindfold is all about, where you're just not willing to look at it. Because I think there's just a lot of, and maybe we'll see in what's sitting in your shadow and why you don't want to look at it. So this decision you have to make, you're just not willing to look at it. You're sort of in denial about it. And I'm seeing that, you know, also what's going on with the spinning is you get the Ten of Cups here as your first card. And the Ten of Cups is that full range of emotion. And it's in an upright position. So that tells me that, you know, you have all these emotions in you. You have the anger, and you have the joy, and you have the, the shame and the grief. You have all these emotions that are available to you. We all do. And the Ten of Cups is saying, listen, you have these emotions. And this is what's being asked of you, because the Queen of Wands comes right after this. And the Queen is that feminine part of us. And we all have a feminine part, and we all have a masculine part. It has nothing to do with gender. And the feminine aspect of it is that part that people really do not want to get in touch with. And that's that part of you when you go inwards, and when you start to ground and start to journal, and you start to get in touch with those emotions, what you're really, really feeling. And this is the Wands. The Wands suit is that fiery energy. It's that part of you that wants to be you. It's that part of you that wants to take your life in a new direction. And it's that part of you that wants to do what you want to do, right? We're talking about freedom here. And I'm seeing that come out. But the Queen is all about all about emotions and all about feeling and all about creativity and all about taking your life into that direction that you want to take it. And when I mean creativity, I'm not necessarily talking about, you're going to write a book. I mean, you could, or you're going to become some artist. It just means being creative in the way that you want to live your life. You want to take it in a new direction. You want some freedom to be you. You want some freedom to do that. And it's saying, you need to get in touch with these emotions that are going on underneath this need to make this decision that you need to make. And so in order to make that decision, you got to get in touch with all these emotions that are underneath all of this. And you do that with your grounding. And I have a really good video. I'm going to see, I could link it at the end. It's also in the description box. There's in the description box below, I've included a lot of videos that will help you on how to ground. I don't think, people really know how to get back into their body. And this is what the Queen is saying, it's time for us to get back into our body because we have a tendency here to live way too much in our heads, And so this next card that comes up is an interesting card for you. It's the Three of Pentacles in reverse. And if you look closely at this card here, let's get a really good close-up of this card. The Three of Pentacles upright position has a picture of three people. They're from three walks of life. And it looks like they're getting together and they're going to do some sort of a project here. They're going to make something. So you have maybe a masonry in here. You have maybe two other members of the church that are definitely looking at working together and doing some kind of a project. And so in this situation, this tells me that I think what I'm seeing is the last two cards are sort of speaking about something that you want to do, a creative project or some sort of direction you want to take your life in. And sometimes this card to me can talk about working with people in a project, or maybe just getting a little bit of therapy. And sometimes it's good just to talk things out with somebody, if anything. And I know for myself, I've spent my life in and out of therapy, like in and out. And it's only in the last 7 years where I've committed my last 7 years to my life of doing intensive trauma recovery work. And I've had to work with somebody that could help me get through, all my patterns and my belief systems and my memories that needed to come out of my shadow. And so I'm wondering here if you're really feeling stuck and, if it's not a sort of creative project aspect that you're looking at, it might be something where you're needing some real help because you're really tied up in your head here, where you're looking for some answers, but you just don't know. And sometimes it just helps to talk it out with somebody. So I look at that card, the Three of Pentacles in reverse, as, maybe you need to talk to somebody because you're really blocked here and you're not seeing a way out. And I see that it's blocked because it's in reverse. And there may be some real resistance to seeking out therapy. Maybe it's your first time ever doing it, or maybe you've done it before and you've sworn, I don't want to do it again. Like, I'm so tired of therapy. I've been there so many times, right? So this is where you're sitting right now with this decision. Now we're going to move into your shadow. Again, this is, if you need some help on shadow work and how to do it, remember I showed you that video and it's linked below in the description box. So you get the Seven of Swords for what's coming up in your shadow. And this is a really interesting card. This is, I think, what they call the Thief card. It looks like he's slipping away at night, in the night. He's stolen something, right? And he's stolen, it looks like he has these feathers here. In the Rider-Waite deck, it's these swords that he's running away with. And you see this crow right here that's kind of calling him out, saying like, to me, crows are great messengers. They're great messengers when they come out. They're that bird that people absolutely hate or absolutely love. They're very, very intelligent birds. And whenever I see one randomly that's really chirping a lot or making a lot of noise, or I know that there's a message for me. And this particular Seven of Swords is a big message for you. And it's saying that, you know, for me, like I said, the swords are about our patternings, our belief systems, our conditionings. And this particular individual in this picture is running away with something. He's stolen something. And when we are younger, and because it's in your shadow talks about, your shadow is that part of you that lives in your unconscious. It's all your belief systems that you have about yourself, everything that people told you when you were younger, from adults, from your parents, from teachers at school, even kids when you're younger, where, you know, let's say they made fun of you or they told you that you were a certain way or something was, you know, something about you was wrong or bad, or, well, you took all that information and you put it away and you shoved it down, and you hid it from yourself. Because it was something that you became very ashamed of. And a lot of times these are gifts. Like, let's say you were a kid that really, you know, showed some signs of becoming, you know, maybe an artist, or even, you know, it was your first picture and you showed it to somebody, and the response that you got from that adult or a kid that was in your class told you that, you know, you kind of sucked, that your drawing sucks. And so you took that and you shoved that away and you were never going to draw again. And these are the kind of things that are inner shadow. You have, you know, belief systems about yourself, and you also have like some hidden gifts in there that could have been repressed when you were younger, as a child or an adolescent. And so here the Seven of Swords tells me that you have some belief systems about you that are sitting in your shadow that are coming up right now, because these are the ones that you ran away with. These are the ones that you picked up when you were younger, as a child or an adolescent. And because that's what swords are, that's what the Seven of Swords are. These are the belief systems that you hold on to, and you're holding on to them in your unconscious, in your shadow, and they're coming up for you to look at. You know, they're coming up for you right now to look at. And your first card is the Eight of Cups in your shadow. The Eight of Cups is the card that talks about, like, I see in your shadow where, you know, there's some walking away that went on. And to me, because it's sitting in your shadow, that could speak of some sort of abandonment issues, rejection maybe. So there's been somewhere here where there's a pattern of sort of abandonment or rejection issues that are coming up for you right now that you need to look at. And sometimes when you are sitting in a place like where you're committing yourself to a lot of yourself to your workplace, for example, and you have to make a decision in your workplace where you may want to leave the job because it's just taking too much from you. You might want less hours, and you're having to face your boss to tell them that a situation that there needs to be a change here for you. But you're so afraid to do it, to make that decision, to take that decision, because you're afraid of what the answer is going to be. You know, there's been some rejection in your past. There's been some abandonment issues here where you're just afraid to take that because you've had that before. And so I can feel that there's some fear here to do that because you're afraid of the response of what that person is going to say. Or you're just afraid to walk away yourself from a position. And the Four of Pentacles here has also come in your shadow, and it's come in reverse. And the Four of Pentacles is all about this miser who's holding on to all his pentacles, right? Can't let them go. And so you have some attachment issues here that are coming up in your shadow where you just have a hard time letting go of things. And so for you to let go of what looks like a job. I'm seeing here. We did talk about, you know, if it is your health, then maybe there's some sort of rigorous thing that's going on with your health. It could be maybe you've established some sort of eating pattern for yourself. You know, I think of my daughter at one point in her life where she became vegan. And she did that for a number of years. And then at one point, she just decided that she didn't want to be vegan anymore. And she sort of went into becoming vegetarian. And then she went back to eating meat. And it was a really difficult decision for her to make. And she was really attached to that for a while. So it could be something you're dealing with. It could be, like I said, you know, some rigorous routine that you've developed for yourself, that you've established, you've put in this pattern for yourself, and now you're trying to get out of it. If it's a job, a workplace, you're trying to get out of it now. It's something that you've committed a lot of time to and a lot of effort, and you're wanting out of it. And I'm seeing here where, you know, you have some attachment issues here that you need to work on, and maybe some rejection issues that are sitting in your shadow, and belief systems about yourself. Because the last card here is the Three of Wands, and the Three of Wands talks about wanting to take your life in a new direction, and you're ready to. I see that you're ready to, and it's coming up in your shadow. And so, you know, I think it's time now where you start to get in touch with some of those emotions, where start to learn how to ground yourself, get in touch with some of these emotions that are dealing with, and a lot of times when it has to do with attachment issues, letting go of things, and maybe some abandonment issues when you were younger, there's a lot of grieving that needs to be done. And it's interesting because I'm looking at your advice from your tarot, and it does look like you have a Page of Cups coming up here. So we'll talk about the Page of Cups, but first I want to look up the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands has come up for you as kind of the theme for the guidance for the tarot here. And the Eight of Wands, I mean, eights talk about movement, and wands in particular are, you know, where you've come to a point in your life where you're really wanting to, I can see it here, the tarot wants you to move. The tarot says, you know, you have all this creative energy in you. You have what it takes to take your life in a new direction. And the tarot really wants you to do that. What the tarot wants you to do in an upright position is take those creative wands and just go for it. Just go for what it is that you want to do, that you need to do. And, you know, this decision that you need to make for yourself, whether it's the workplace or something to do with your health. What is it? Go for it. And the tarot sees that, you know, that there is a real block here. And so the guidance that the tarot is going to give you here so that you can take your life in that new direction and just take those wands and throw them up and just go for it, you know, and trust that the universe has your back. Well, the Page of Wands comes up, the Page of Cups comes up in reverse for you. And the Page of Cups for me is that, the pages for me, first of all, are that inner child, is an inner child. We all have an inner child. We all have these parts, and one of them is our inner child. And the Page of Cups is that little love seeker that just is looking for love, and sometimes in all the wrong places. And the Page of Cups is in reverse. And so the tarot wants you to get in touch with that younger part of you and that needs to grieve. And Cups is all about emotions. And like I said, I think there's some real abandonment, attachment issues here that you need to look at. And when you do start to look at that, when you start to ground yourself and get in touch with that, you know, the attachment issues or the rejection issues that you've had, and I think you need to grieve. So there's some real grieving that needs to be done here. And because the Ten of Cups comes up here, and it's in reverse. And the Ten of Cups is a really interesting minor arcana card. It has a lot of levels to it. It's quite a deep card, because when you take a really close look at the Ten of Cups, it's in reverse, but let's look at it in an upright position. You have what looks like, it almost looks like a real family card, where you have this this couple here in the background. And, people look at that as being a male and a female, in that, I think because of the robes they're wearing. I mean, I just threw the card on the floor. I'm just going to get it. And a lot of people look at that card as, the family card. It almost looks like a generational card, because you have the younger children here, because you have this older man sitting here, and then maybe the next generation here, and then the smallest generation is this little child right here, and it's just really clinging on to this figure, whether it's a parent of theirs. And so it doesn't really look like this particular family is communicating, even though it has the facade of being a generational family and everybody's together. But no one's really paying attention to this old figure, this old man here, that has this magical coat here with, a lot of astrology symbols are on here. And, so no one's really paying attention to this. He's alone. And what people don't also see is this is the only minor arcana card that has the magical wand of the magician in it, that's leaning against the building here. And you also have a scale here that's right above this. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right above the old man's head. So this is a card of balance. It's asking you to look beyond your situation. And there's more to it, because outside of this gate here is something magical outside, right? He's sitting outside of this gate. There's something magical here. And what's really interesting about the Ten of Pentacles, and this is the only card that has it, is this Kabbalistic tree of life symbol that these pentacles are sitting in. And this is the symbol for everything in life that we just can't explain, right? Magic is something we can't explain. Everything magical that we can't explain. And so this is in reverse for you, because there is a real need for you, the tarot says, to go inwards and to find out what's in your shadow. Because the shadow is something that you can't see. And so it's impossible for you to know what it is. Like consciously, you see your life. But your shadow is what determines or has the most impact on all your relationships. And so this is what's causing you to be so much in your head and with this decision that you're needing to be made. The last card that comes up for you is the Star. There is some real healing here that needs to be done. And that's what the tarot is saying. The Star card is all about healing. It's all about healing. It's a beautiful place to be. But if you notice, this figure has 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on the ground. The water is your emotions. It's your unconscious that you need to get in touch with. And you need to learn how to ground to do that. And so I believe that for you, I want to leave you with 2 videos at the end that are coming from my other channel. I think you need to get in touch with your grief. I'll leave you a video on grief. And I'm also going to leave you a video on grounding and learning how to ground yourself in the proper way so that you can get back into your body, so that it can help you make a decision, the decision you need to make in the first part of February for yourself. And now what I'm going to do as a final card here, I'm going to pull an oracle for you, an oracle card. And the one that showed up, I'm going to pull this as the one. And this is the oral card for you, and I'm going to read it. Number 25. This is the last bit of advice here. And this is called number 25, befriend the word polarize. Polarize isn't a bad word. Great leaders are not selling safe, usual, everyday. Sorry, I'm going to reread that. Great leaders are not selling safe, usual, everyday ideas. It's time to bravely put your truth and your wisdom out on display in order to find those individuals who totally love what you're saying. Finding those soulful kindreds may mean that there will be others who disagree with what you're all about, and that's okay. It's time to get comfortable with this possibility and steer clear of any safely watered down vanilla choices that are meant to keep you palatable and liked. You are anything but average. So don't hide your powerful message from the world by trying to appeal to the taste of the masses. Growth and change are by nature uncomfortable for some people, and your particular brand of magic won't be perfect for everyone. Your people will feel compelled by your authentic stories, courage, vulnerability, and honesty. Be courageous and allow your unique flavor of awesome sauce to shine through. You'll attract people who are fiercely in love with what you're up to, and your heart will feel so full that the light of the world will spill forth from your joy. Wow, I think this really reflects what's going to happen when you finally make that decision that you need to make to take your life into that new direction that you need to take your life into that new direction that's blocked right now, that the universe wants you to take. These are the creative wands. This is the creativity. This is where you're going to go. And yeah, this says it all. Just to free up your life to where you need to go this first part of February. So this is your reading, Taurus. I hope it resonates. Let me know if it does and comment below. I'll talk to you in about 10 days or so. See you later. Bye-bye.